Having the logical, conceptual understanding is not going to relieve suffering that comes from your habitual thought patterns, speech patterns, and behavior patterns. Only the light of your awareness can do that. And through repetition and non-identification, you can see that you're already free. Neuroplasticity means that your neural networks, the connections between the neurons in your brain, that those connections can change, that they're not solid, they're not fixed, they're not permanent. The way that neuroplasticity works is through repetition and positive reinforcement. So when you're doing your mindfulness meditation practice, when you are intending to rest your attention on the sensation of the breath, but then your attention goes away into a daydream, that's a natural, normal thing to happen. You don't notice when you go into the daydream. It's kind of like your nighttime dreams. You often don't notice when you slip into a nighttime dream or a daydream. But what you do notice is when you wake up from the dream, when you're daydreaming and then all of a sudden you realize, whoa, I'm supposed to be meditating here. That moment of waking up is a moment of clarity, and you can choose to be grateful or happy or some other positive emotion to reinforce that awareness. This is how your mindfulness practice translates into your everyday life. In your everyday life, when someone makes you mad or you are in a situation where you're going to be reactive, instead of being reactive, what you want is to be responsive. You want to make an intentional choice about what to do. But you have all these thoughts and impulses and emotions that are running on autopilot that have so much momentum from the past that it is almost guaranteed that you're going to repeat the same reaction that you always do. Right? Doing your mindfulness meditation, the purpose of doing that mindfulness meditation is to change the relationship between you and your thoughts, between you and your impulses, between you and your words, your thoughts, words, and deeds. You want to change the relationship to be one where you are more able to respond intentionally than to be pulled into a reaction, which is habitual. So when you're in your mindfulness meditation and you get lost in thought, you notice that you're lost in thought, that noticing, that waking up is a beautiful thing. So be happy that it happened effortlessly. You didn't make it happen, it just happened. When you notice that it happened, you just come back to the breath, just relaxing your attention on the breath. And you're doing that over and over and over and over and over. You're getting your reps in doing that instead of being pulled into the daydream. You're repeating the awareness, and you're positively reinforcing it by feeling grateful, feeling happy, feeling relieved, feeling whatever positive emotion. You notice that you woke up from the daydream. Maybe say a little something like, "Oh, thank you for waking me up." Speaking to your higher self, to your guardian angel, to God, to your saints and your ancestors who are out there, but also in here. Whatever, if you want to personify the mechanisms that are happening in your system, that could be helpful. And you can use that as any excuse to feel gratitude, love, appreciation, some kind of positive emotion in that moment when you are waking up from the daydream. For a while, I used to imagine that it was Manjushri, the bodhisattva of wisdom, of direct experience, of non-conceptual Gnosis, who uses his flaming sword to cut through the illusion. I used to imagine that whenever I noticed myself lost in a daydream, I would then say, "Oh, thank you, Manjushri, for cutting through this illusion." Okay, so just say something like that and feel gratitude, feel appreciation, feel some positive emotion that you associate with that moment of awakening. Okay, instead of what I hear a lot of people experiencing in their meditation practice, when they get lost in thought and they notice that they're lost in thought, they say, "Oh shit, I was lost in thought," and they feel angry at themselves and start beating themselves up. And then I point that out to them. And then when the next time they get lost in thought and they notice it and they get angry and then they get frustrated at their anger. See, they were lost and they were angry and then they were frustrated about the anger. And then it just goes on and on and on and on and on. So you can cut that loop by intending from the beginning to have a positive feeling about that moment of awakening. Recognize that it is a moment of awakening. Call it that. Think of it in that way. If that feels more valuable, more positive, more something that you can identify as a good thing, right? That you can associate with good feelings. And then through repetition, later on in your day-to-day life, when you have those moments where the thoughts are popping up and the impulses are popping up, you have just that much more of a chance of noticing it. And instead of being pulled by it, you are able to be aware of it and come back to your breath or come back to your physical body, come back to the present moment, the space of awareness and choice where you can respond to the situation instead of just reacting. Another mindfulness exercise you could do that helps with this is to practice sitting in your upright, relaxed position and just intend to be perfectly still. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of movement because you're breathing, right? You don't want to be tight like this, but just be as still as you can. And then your knee is going to itch, or you're going to feel an itch on your face. If you're following along with me, maybe you can sit there and imagine it. See, even right now, I feel an itch on my eye. And what you're going to do is you're going to just notice that itch, or you're going to feel the impulse to shift your posture. And you're just going to notice that impulse and decide not to follow it. Okay, you're going to notice the impulse to scratch the itch and you're going to decide not to follow it. You're going to intend and resolve that for the rest of your sitting meditation session, however long you're sitting today, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, that until your alarm goes off, you're not going to move and you're not going to scratch any itches. This is specifically for impulse control. This is for becoming more of the choice maker in relation to your impulses instead of being pulled by them. Yeah, your mindfulness practice isn't just about feeling relaxed. I want to feel good feelings. I want to escape from the stress of my day-to-day life. It could provide you with that, and that might be what you get. That might not be what you get, but it could be what you get. But either way, that's not the main point. The main point is to realize that you're not this mind and you're not this body. And you're not these thoughts and you're not these feelings and you're not these impulses and you're not any of these patterns. All of these behaviors, all of this conditioning. It's all observed by you, and you don't have to identify with it. Not just in a surface level conceptual way of identifying with it, or identify with that, but in a visceral lived experience of believing and feeling yourself to be identical with this thought, this feeling. This is me. Is it you? Maybe not. Absolutely not. It's definitely not. I say maybe because me telling you that it's not you is not going to help you. Even if you believe me, even if I've convinced you, having the logical, conceptual understanding is not going to relieve suffering that comes from your habitual thought patterns, speech patterns, and behavior patterns. Only the light of your awareness can do that. And through repetition and non identification, you can see that you're already free. And of course, you might have moments here and there where you get caught up. There's certain people, there's certain situations, there's certain times of the day where it's just almost impossible to be a conscious responder to life. You can't help but react. And that's okay. I'm not trying to be perfect, just trying to reduce your suffering a little bit. We're so used to blaming external things and people and situations for our suffering. And yeah, there is a role that is played by the outside, but there's nothing you can do about the outside. The only thing that you can impact is the inside. It's your relationship to your thoughts about the situation, your relationship to your words and your deeds in response to the situation. Whether you're going to have a habitual reaction or a conscious response. If you want to hear some more about these kind of topics and how to become more sovereign over your mental space and your heart space, then like, subscribe, and get my free meditation guide, mindfulness guide, by putting your email in the link below. And until then, peace be with us.